eye color, the shape of our face, variations in our skin tone. Together, they make each of us unique. But for some of us, there are differences in our bodies that are rarer than others. What is heterochromia? Why do some people have a pit in front of their ear? And what the heck is golden blood? This is Your Body On, the Rarest Body Features Part 1. Number 10. Extra rib. Most of us are born with 12 pairs of ribs in our chest, but about 1 in every 200 people are born with an extra rib.
1 rib to go. 1 rib?
Known as a cervical rib, this bone is located at the top of the rib cage, connected to the vertebra that makes up our neck. This is an area known as the thoracic passageway, where important blood vessels and nerves are located. For 10% of the people who have it, this cervical rib compresses the nerves and blood vessels, causing thoracic outlet syndrome. Symptoms include pain and tingling in the neck and shoulder that can spread to the arms. It can also make fine hand movements difficult to go along with blood clots and swelling. It can also affect the blood supply to the extremities, causing fingers and toes to turn white. Color plays a major role in our next rare body feature. Number 9. Different colored eyes. You might have blue eyes or brown eyes, but for less than 200,000 people in the United States, you could have both. If you were diagnosed with heterochromia, your eyes might be 2 different colors, or you might have different colors within your iris. In some cases, the outer ring of your iris might be a different color than the rest of it. This can sometimes be quite striking, as with professional baseball player Max Scherzer, or subtle, as with Hollywood's Mila Kunis and Jane Seymour. If you're born with heterochromia, there's usually no reason for concern, although it can sometimes be a symptom of another genetic disease. But medical conditions like diabetes and glaucoma, in addition to some surgical procedures, can cause it to appear later in life. Your eye color could even change due to an injury to your eye. That's what happened to David Bowie. A teenage injury caused anisocoria, making his pupils different sizes. As a result, his eyes appear to be of different colors, but certain colors of eyes can be an odd sight as well. Number 8. Gray eyes. About 3% of the world's population has gray eyes, making it one of the rarest eye colors. Celebrities with this eye color include Pink, Heather Graham, and Clint Eastwood. Your eye color is determined by the amount of melanin in your iris. Dark eyes have more melanin and light eyes have less. As attractive as gray eyes can be, a light eye color means you have a greater chance of contracting ocular melanoma. Thankfully, this eye cancer is very rare, affecting only 6 in every 1 million American adults. So be sure to wear those UV-blocking sunglasses. Interestingly, a 2001 study showed that people with lighter eye colors, including gray, consume more alcohol than those with dark eyes. And they're less likely to get as drunk. We're really not sure what that has to do with the color of your eyes, but we'll raise a glass to it. Number 7. Golden blood. No, having golden blood does not mean you bleed gold when cut, or that you come from a wealthy family. It actually refers to a very rare type of blood. There are 4 main blood groups: A, B, AB, and O. What type you have depends on molecules on the surface of your red blood cells. Your blood can contain up to 49 different antigen proteins that are found outside of your red blood cells. This is known as the Rh factor. If one of these proteins, Rhd, is present, your blood is considered Rh positive. If that same protein is missing, your blood is Rh negative. If you're given blood that is incompatible with your Rh factor, it could kill you. That's why it's important to know your blood type. But what if none of those proteins were present in your blood? Then your blood would be referred to as Rh null. This blood type is so rare that only 43 people are known to have it in the world. It is also a universal donor blood, meaning anyone can be given it.
That mighty Skywalker blood.
That makes it highly prized and is why it's referred to as golden blood.
I love gold!
Number 6. Holy ear. less than 10 in every 1,000 babies are born with a tiny hole in the front of their ear above the ear canal. This is known as a preauricular pit. It can appear in both ears, but is more common in only one, when a sinus tract running under the skin is out of place. Usually, these pits are nothing to worry about.
Relax, it's all right.
But they can become infected. And sometimes these can develop into an abscess. Ugh. Doctors don't know the causes of preauricular pits, but they can run in the family. If you have any of these physical traits, congrats. You're one in a million.
Conjoined twins and their complex lives have made headlines for generations. Depending on where they're conjoined, each set of twins works a little bit differently. What's it like to live as a conjoined twin? And is there any way to separate them? This is Your Body On Conjoined Twins. Conjoined twins develop when an early embryo partially splits to form two individuals. They are considered identical twins because they develop from the same fertilized egg. They usually share one or more internal organs. In rare cases, one twin will be smaller than the other or even partially developed. What factors make for a successful separation? Staying conjoined. Abby and Brittany Hensel, in their 30s, are working as teachers. They're joined side to side at the pelvis, the abdomen, and chest, but they have separate heads. They share one liver, one large intestine, and one reproductive system. They learned from a young age to coordinate. Abby controls the right hand while Brittany controls the left, but some physiological factors differ. Brittany can't drink much coffee because her heart rate increases, while Abby is fine. Traveling can be a challenge for them. They take up one seat on a plane as they share most of their pelvis, so they need one ticket, but they have two passports.
The best thing about being conjoined twins is there's always someone there to talk to, and you're never alone.
Krista and Tatiana Hogan are a rare example of craniopagus twins. Born in 2006, they're conjoined at the head. According to the UC Davis Children's Hospital, craniopagus twins occur once in every 2.5 million births. Their brains are connected and they share the senses of touch and taste. They can control one another's limbs and see out of one another's eyes.
We have eyes back of our heads.
They also say they know one another's thoughts without speaking. But how were these twins even born? The birth. Even before they enter this world, the lives of conjoined twins are complicated. Doctors prepare for months to minimize the risks to the babies and the mother. They perform a fetal MRI to know more about the anatomic structure of the twins. Doctors can use this information to develop conjoined mannequin dolls as models for the twins. This helps the medical team rehearse the delivery multiple times. The twins are brought prematurely into this world via a cesarean section. Approximately 70% of conjoined twins are female, and sadly, about 40% of conjoined twins are stillborn or die shortly after birth. Some are born with compromised airways or collapsed lungs. They need a continuous airway pressure machine to help them breathe. Even after birth, conjoined twins face a difficult life ahead. They may need to be separated. Separation. Separating conjoined twins when they are younger makes the process less complicated. As they age, their organs develop and become larger and possibly more entwined. There is also a higher risk of shared blood vessels. The success of the separation depends on the expertise of the surgical teams and the available technology. The process requires detailed planning by general surgeons, plastic and reconstructive surgeons, and neurosurgeons. Specialists use virtual reality and develop 3D printed models of the twins' bodies, particularly the areas that are fused. These models help the team to plan and practice the surgical process with great precision. Surgeries may take hours or days to complete. Organs are divided so each twin has a functioning and independent circulatory system. The survival rate for separated conjoined twins is between 5 and 25%. Luckily, the separation process is improving, and the success rate of surgeries is increasing.
She stole my belly button.
I did. I had 2 belly buttons.
Stories of conjoined twins have fascinated the science community. These twins face many challenges, but inspiring stories prove they are capable of anything. The hand. 4 fingers and an opposable thumb. Evolutionary perfection.
That's right.
Or is it?
I don't get it.
What if you had an additional finger on each hand? Would you be more dexterous? Or better at certain sports or activities? And what would be the pros and cons?
How many fingers am I holding up?
This is your body on having 6 fingers on each hand. Being born with an extra digit on either of the hands or feet is known as polydactyly. The 6th digit can be partially formed, fully formed, or just a small mass. For this exercise, we're going to assume you've been born with an extra fully formed finger on each hand. How different would your life be? And are there things you could do with the extra finger that you can't do now? Polydactyly. There are different types of polydactyly, and it tends to run in families, but can also be the result of genetic mutation or environmental causes. It can be associated with another genetic condition, such as Down syndrome or Grieg syndrome, and is sometimes seen in children of diabetic women. Men are twice as likely to have polydactyly. The right hand and left foot are most commonly affected. This condition occurs in 1 in 1,000 births, but is as high as 1 in 150 births among African Americans. Extra digits can be surgically removed, though this can be difficult due to bones, tendons, and muscles. Cons. As we all know, children can be cruel. Growing up with 6 fingers could open you up to bullying and feelings of isolation. This could be traumatic. Into your teens and adulthood, it would be a constant topic of conversation. This could get frustrating and annoying.
What's so funny?
Something as simple as buying gloves would become a challenging proposition. They would have to be custom made, unless all you wore were mittens. And if you played a sport that required protective hand gear like ice hockey, the costs for custom gloves could be astronomical. Now, if your extra digit was a second thumb, it could affect the function of your other thumb. You might need surgery to ensure that at least one was functional. Actress and Bond girl Gemma Arterton was born with 6 fingers on each hand. The extra digits developed without a bone and were removed when she was a child, leaving her with scars on each hand. Now, there is the risk of infection with surgery, and you could develop a tender lump. Pros. Extra fingers were long considered to be useless. However, new research has shown that there could be advantages to polydactyly. One study, following a 52-year-old woman and her 17-year-old son who both had extra fingers, found that there were definite positives. They could type on their phones, play complicated video games, and tie their shoelaces with only one hand. Tests found that they were more dexterous than those with the standard 5 fingers. They could move their extra digits independently, and they had the range of motion of a typical thumb. MRI scans found that their brains worked harder when tasked with using their 6th finger, but there was no apparent cognitive detriment. In other words, their brains adapted. Others have made the most of this gift by mastering musical instruments. For professional baseball pitcher Antonio Alfonseca, his extra pinkies made no difference. The tiny fingers don't touch the baseball, so there's no additional spin on his curveballs, but they don't impede his throws either. You might think 6 fingers would provide an evolutionary advantage, but researchers have concluded that there's likely some genetic pressure to keeping the 5-finger design.
I think the design is great, Dad. Good note, good note.
So, if you were born with 6 fully functioning fingers, there would be challenges, but some tasks would be easier. Your hands could be more dexterous. Okay, now that you've discovered what it would be like to have 6 fingers on each hand, let's find out what would happen if you didn't blink for an entire month.
I'm really tall, yes, really tall. I mean, like really, really, really tall. My pants don't fit, I can't wear jackets. I can touch the ceiling without trying. Dunk on you like I'm flying. It's actually pretty horrifying. I'm really tall.
Number 8. Sultan Kozan. First up, we have Sultan Kozan, the current world record holder for the tallest human alive. At a staggering 2.512 meters, or 8 feet 2.89 inches, this Turkish farmer makes Shaq look like a shrimp.
My body is a gift from God.
Sultan's intense growth spurt began at just 10 years old, thanks to pituitary gigantism, a tumor in the pituitary gland that produces excessive growth hormones. Luckily, in 2010, the University of Virginia performed gamma knife surgery on his tumor. This is when surgeons use precise beams of gamma radiation to shrink malignant cells. Despite his larger-than-life stature, Sultan found love and married his almost literal better half, Merve Debo, who is 1.75 meters or 5 foot 9 inches tall. Sultan's excess growth hormone is also responsible for his acromegaly, a disorder that happens later in life after your bone growth plates have closed. It can enlarge your hands, feet, and jaw and contribute to health problems like joint pain. Because of this, he needs crutches to get around. Sultan's just one of the many incredible people on our list who have managed to achieve great heights, in more ways than one. Why do some of the world's tallest people have the shortest lifespans? And how much do they eat on a daily basis? This is Your Body On, the tallest humans to ever live. Number 7. Jannat Ali. Measuring just 1 inch shorter than Sultan is Jannat Ali from Bangladesh. Jannat towered over his neighbors at 2.51 meters or 8 feet 2.82 inches. And like Sultan, he too suffered from a brain tumor that caused complications throughout his life. At age 11, he started growing abnormally tall. Unfortunately, he wasn't admitted to the hospital for treatment until 2018, when doctors found the almost inoperable brain tumor. Sadly, in 2020, he was brought into the hospital unconscious and passed away at just 24 years old. For people with pituitary gigantism, growth spurts are only half the battle. Enlarged organs can put you at risk for high blood pressure, heart problems, type 2 diabetes, and even vision loss. Number 6. Igor Vovkavinsky. Next we have Igor Vovkavinsky, the former record holder for the tallest man in the United States at 2.35 meters or 7 feet 8.5 inches. This Ukrainian-born behemoth appeared on the Dr. Oz show and was even recognized by former President Barack Obama while wearing a t-shirt sporting the words "World's Biggest Obama Supporter." His staggering stature made life difficult, but it didn't hold him back from his musical dreams. He wowed judges with his performance at the Eurovision Song Contest in 2013. Igor had a brain tumor too, but was lucky enough to have surgery fairly early in his life in 1989. This extended his lifespan significantly.
I would like to change the way the world adapts to different people.
You just want to fit in.
Yeah.
Sadly, Igor passed away in 2021 at the age of 38 from heart disease. Number 5. Ho Van Trung. Meet Ho Van Trung, the Vietnamese giant who was 2.57 meters or 8 feet 5.2 inches tall. Ho Van was fairly average-sized until he suffered a prolonged fever at age 17. After being treated, he started to grow exponentially taller. By age 21, he was already 2 meters or 6.5 feet tall. At this point, doctors discovered he had a brain tumor. Due to his size, Ho Van was shy and mostly kept to himself. Like the other giants on this list, he also had health problems. He suffered from kidney disease and needed dialysis, a treatment that helps the body remove waste from your blood when your kidneys can't. Unfortunately, he passed away from inflammatory bowel disease in his early 30s. Number 4. Leonid Stadnik. Leonid Stadnik of Ukraine was once the 4th tallest human ever, nearly as tall as Ho Van Trung at 2.57 meters or 8 feet 5 inches. Leonid hailed from a small village in northern Ukraine. At 13, his parents took him to the doctor to discover, you guessed it, a brain tumor. He was fortunate enough to have brain surgery, which slowed the growth of the tumor, but his body kept growing. In an interview with GQ magazine, he mentioned his happiest times were spent gardening alone, with fruits and vegetables to keep him company. This gentle giant passed away from a brain hemorrhage in 2014 at age 44. Number 3. Vikas Upal. Vikas Upal was not only the tallest man in India at 2.49 meters or 8 feet 2 inches, he was also a Bollywood movie star. He made his debut in the box office hit Rang De Basanti. Unlike some people with gigantism, Vikas had a rare case of acromegaly, where he had proportionate hands and feet. To put that in perspective, he had size 19 shoes, and his hands were 33 centimeters or 13 inches long. That's one really high 5. Vikas passed away in 2007 from a failed brain tumor operation. Number 2. Sandy Allen. Meet Sandy Allen, who was a staggering 2.32 meters or 7 feet 7.25 inches tall.
By the time I was 10, I was standing 6 feet 3 inches tall. So you short guys in the audience, just eat your hearts out.
Growing up in Shelbyville, Indiana, Sandy shot up early on in life. By the 5th grade, she was already 1.9 meters or 6 feet 3 inches tall. Her grandma had to buy her a bed that was nearly 2.5 meters or 8 feet long. It would barely fit in the dining room. As a preteen, doctors discovered a brain tumor. Unfortunately, her family didn't have health insurance, so she couldn't get the surgery she needed. Her athletic coaches thought she might have a promising future, but then her bones grew so quickly that she needed surgery just to walk. After high school, Sandy worked as a secretary. Her co-workers encouraged her to be measured for Guinness World Records, and she landed the title of tallest woman in the world. Her newfound international fame led to her being discovered by Italian director Federico Fellini. She played an arm wrestling giantess in his film Casanova alongside Donald Sutherland. Though she lived a tough life full of health problems, she always had a big heart, quite literally. Gigantism didn't just affect her height, it wreaked havoc on her enlarged organs. For Sandy, that meant everything from urinary problems to infections to early onset arthritis. But she soldiered on, signing autographs and taking pictures with fans until the very end. Sandy passed away at the age of 53, making her one of the longest living giantesses in the world. Number 1. Robert Wadlow. And finally, meet Robert Wadlow, the tallest human being ever to live. Robert Wadlow was born in Alton, Illinois in 1918. By the time of his death in 1940, he stood at a staggering 2.72 meters or 8 feet 11.1 inches tall. By the time Robert was 8 years old, he was already taller than his father. By age 17, he was the tallest teenager ever. Despite his enormity, Robert was known to be a gentle giant, loved by all who knew him. He could be seen driving around his hometown in a modified car with the seats removed to give him enough leg space. He was gifted a free supply of custom-made 39 AA shoes from the International Shoe Company. To keep up with his size, Robert ate an average of 8,000 calories a day. That's a lot of hamburgers. As he got older, he needed leg braces to walk. Sadly, one of them caused a septic blister on his right ankle, leading to his untimely death at just 22 years old. No matter how big or small you are, modern medicine has come a long way in helping folks live longer and healthier lives. But did you know some people are risking their lives to be a little bit taller? Would you ever consider having leg lengthening surgery? We'll go under the knife in another episode of Your Body On.